under no circumstances, you are promising America tonight, you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
Except
Look,
for?
he's going crazy. Except for day one.
Meaning?
I want to close the border, and I want to drill,
That's
drill,
not
drill.
That's not retribution.
I'm going to be, you know, he keeps, we love this guy. He says, you're not going to be a dictator, are you? I said, no, other than day one. We're closing the border, and we're drilling. After that, I'm not a dictator.
Okay, so this went on for 5 minutes. All right, Sean repeatedly tries to get him to just answer the question, and he refused to actually answer the question directly.
Well, he answered the question. He said on just day one, he was joking. He wasn't, I suppose, but he wasn't.
I mean, you're a comedian, so judge it by that. What was he? I mean, yeah.
Well, when he said, "I will seek revenge against my people who convicted, I've already convicted him, who charged me, and that's the end of rule of law."
The idea of Republican primaries implies that the GOP will continue to exist. And right now, there is reason to doubt that, because multiple state Republican parties are reportedly going bankrupt.
About, if not the rule of law. So he's already said that he will be an autocrat. And he, you know, has said will go root out the vermin in our country. There's no question that this guy, and that is what this election, in a large part, is going to be about.
That's financially bankrupt. They already achieved morally. Now, they've got no money. Right now, the state Republican Party's finances are somewhere between Rudy Giuliani and abandoned J.C. Penney.
Do we send into an autocracy?
I want to talk about this ridiculousness of whether or not Donald Trump should be allowed to be on the ballot.
You had bet with Senator Lindsey Graham that $20. You said that Biden would win. He said that Trump would win. He supported Trump.
Yeah,
right?
I told Lindsey then that the guy who actually wins the Electoral College is the winner. And that's why I couldn't understand why he still backs Trump. People will look at his accomplishments. It's a year out. Mm-hmm. He passed the biggest infrastructure bill. Remember, Trump was, I'm a builder, and every week was infrastructure week, and we couldn't.
Got waylaid, yeah.
Yeah, that never happened under him. Biggest investment in climate. I think when we get close to the election, this autocracy issue will be an enormous issue for Americans, and also they'll look at the court that he appointed and the threat of him appointing more people like that. Yeah. I think this is going to be a very close election.
This debate does nothing but help Donald Trump. Fortunately, the people that actually think he has an argument are fucking idiots.
Where in August, the state GOP of Arizona had just $14,800 left in the bank. Now, to put that into perspective, the Arizona GOP cannot afford to buy a 2017 Honda Civic.
You think that when the Supreme Court takes this up, they are going to side with President Trump. Is that correct?
They are going to side against people being thrown off the ballot in this sort of manner. The brief that I will be filing with the United States Supreme Court is not going to say that President Trump is a bad person. It's not going to say that he's a good person. What it's going to say is that this extrajudicial means of removing people from the ballot is catastrophic to our country if it's allowed to continue.
Now, Minnesota Republicans are also struggling financially. A filing earlier this year revealed that the party there was more than $335,000 in debt, with a bank balance of $53.81.
This is the Missouri Secretary of State. And he's dim-witted and slow.
Because if Democrats can do it, you know that Republicans will do it. And if Republicans will do it, then Democrats will do it more.
The GOP has gone from the party of Lincoln to, can you spot me a Lincoln?
The reality is they have no argument. So let's watch as he gets rolled on CNN. Because he's a moron.
To that point, Secretary, in order to remove President Biden from the ballot, according to your state constitution, you would need to go to court. What do you think would be your strongest argument?
No, not at all. Not
No?
at all. If you
Your
look
state
at what
constitution actually states that the Secretary of State lacks authority to assess qualifications of a candidate to determine whether to place a candidate's name on a primary ballot. That's according to section
Sir,
115.387 of your state constitution.
Sir, what I'm saying is, if the Supreme Court upholds the ruling out of Colorado, and what
Which
happened
went to
in
court
Colorado,
to disqualify Donald Trump from the ballot. So you, according
Sir,
to your
you're
state
not
constitution,
listening.
would need to go to
Sir.
court.
As of this fall, they were $500,000 in debt, and in an attempt to scrape up some cash, Karamo tried to sell the party's former headquarters in Lansing. Only one problem, Karamo and the state GOP do not own the building.
I don't think this guy has any comprehension that laws are different in different states.
Sir, let's just be clear. First of
Sure.
all, you've already said you're not an attorney and you don't know what happened in Colorado. I was happy
I know
to
what happened in
explain that.
Colorado, sir. What I said was that I didn't read through all of the evidence specifically to be able to qualify whether there was hearsay or not. To get back to my question, you
Well, that
said
goes to
that
the
you
due
would
process.
decide to remove Joe Biden from the ballot in your state. According to your state constitution, which I just read to you from, it says you need to go to court. I'm asking you what you think your strongest argument is.
And I continue to try to answer your questions.
But clearly, he has no comprehension of the law in his own state.
And you continue to try to tell me stuff that just isn't true.
That's
And
not
here's the
factual, sir.
explanation.
You made an accusation about
here's
me
the
not knowing something.
explanation.
I'm trying to clarify it for you. You can choose to
Here-
answer the
well, I
question
keep
or
trying
just
to
continue
answer your
deflecting.
question.
What is the
I keep
strongest
trying-
argument you would make in court to
I-
remove Joe Biden from the ballot? Go.
What has happened is, what I said in my statement was, if this becomes the law of the land and the Supreme
That
Court
a state can
upholds-
choose how to qualify
Sir,
candidates on the
are
ballot
you
or
going
not
to let
according to
me
their
explain
state's
it or not?
constitutions? I'm just trying to
Sir,
clarify the point.
The chairman of Florida's Republican Party was ousted because he was under criminal investigation for sexual assault. Yes, no one under investigation for sexual assault should be chairman of the Florida Republican Party.
The reality is that they've got nothing.
They should be the Republican nominee for president. And here, you okay?
I'm trying to
the
clarify the point.
The United States Constitution is supreme over state constitutions. I hope you at least understand that. Now, I have
I
to
do.
talk a little bit about the Colorado case. In Colorado, that lawsuit started because there's a law that prohibits the election authority, the Secretary of State, from doing something, well, in the vernacular, from doing something they're not supposed to do. That's how the lawsuit started. That same law, or a very similar law, applies to me in Missouri. If anyone can say so-and-so isn't supposed to be on the ballot and it's wrong for you to put them on the ballot, then we're going to see secretaries of state, elections authorities, maybe even county clerks across this country removing people from the ballot. I think that is a terrible thing. I am against that. And what I said was, if the Supreme Court allows it, that slippery slope is going to happen to everybody. They need to stop it from happening to anybody.
I hear all the time these Republicans trying to, disregard the hackery that's going on in the Supreme Court on every ruling. But they constantly say, because it's their only argument, that we're originalists. We read what the actual text of the Constitution is. We're not trying to make law. We just try to interpret it as to what they meant with the simple English that they used. Let's look at this English. It seems real simple to me. Engaged in. Pretty straightforward.
I'm sure the Supreme Court will settle whether you can remove someone from the ballot or not, or potentially give guidance on that. I'm wondering, though, what would then be your justification for removing Joe Biden from the ballot in Missouri? Has he engaged, in your mind, in some kind of insurrection?
There have been allegations that he's engaged in insurrection.
How so?
And no, please let me finish. There have only been
You
allegations.
can't say something like that and not back it up. What do you mean?
I am continuing, but you interrupted me before I could back it up.
Go ahead,
Are you
sir.
scared of the truth?
Oh,
Let me
I'm not
explain.
terrified of the truth at all. It seems like you might be. Let's hear what you have to say.
There have only been allegations against
What
President
allegations?
Trump.
The reality is Donald Trump is ineligible. He should be kicked off these ballots. But that's just going to make Trump people write him in. It won't change the numbers hardly at all. They'll claim that it does. They're going to claim it was stolen no matter what. Donald Trump is going to lose this election by 10% of the vote, y'all. Republicans won't. But Donald Trump will.
President Trump has never been adjudicated guilty in a court of law.
What did Joe Biden do, in your mind, that equates insurrection? What allegations are you talking about?
I have seen allegations from the Lieutenant Governor of Texas that has said that Joe Biden has been part of insurrection or rebellion. We've seen the governor of Florida say the same thing.
Insurrection over what? What did the governor of Texas say that Joe Biden was causing insurrection over? If you're going to make the claim, give me some specifics. Are you just going to cite the governor of Texas or Florida and not actually say what they are arguing?
It's going to be a blowout. I don't think they have any idea what the hell they're in for. Taking him off the ballot is a gift to Republicans. But they're too stupid to open it.
Do you know what they're arguing?
What I'm telling you is this. They made allegations, and all it took for former President Trump to be taken off the ballot in Colorado and in Maine were allegations. We should not be a country that removes people from the ballot based on allegations. I think you can agree with that.
I think it depends to a degree.
Oh, so your guy can be removed from the ballot.
My guy, Joe Biden is not my guy. You don't know who my guy is.
The reality is this guy's a dim-witted dumbass. And he goes on and on and on, and he's got nothing.
The point is, sir, the point is that it's not clear whether the 14th Amendment is self-executing or not. In other words, it doesn't matter to a court at that point whether there was a conviction of Donald Trump for insurrection or not. That is a debate for the Supreme Court to have.
How do you know he's committed insurrection if there's not a conviction?
A judge decided so in Colorado.
But it wasn't a judge in Maine. It was just the Secretary of State.
Because that's the way the Constitution in Maine is laid out, sir.
The problem for MAGA Republicans is that they're used to Fox News and Newsmax. There's never been a follow-up question. They don't know how to deal.
The Constitution in Maine gives the Secretary of State the ability to decide whether or not someone has violated.
As part of a process, yes, someone can make the claim that someone shouldn't be on a ballot, that something they did disqualifies them. The Secretary of State is the first layer in a legal process of deciding whether that person belongs on a ballot or not. It's in Maine state constitution. I think you should probably read it, sir, before you make claims about the Maine Secretary of State and their process. We got to leave the conversation there, but I very much appreciate your time. You're welcome back anytime, sir.
And when it turns out that they're completely full of shit, they just melt down and run back to Fox.
So if this does happen in February and they punt at the Supreme Court, it's up to you, states. You're going to make a move to kick Biden off. Am I right?
If they punt this, I will have to look at allegations that are brought before me. And if the court says allegations are enough to do it, I have to follow the law. I swore an oath that I'd follow the law. So the Supreme Court has to make sure it does not become the law.
What about the Secretary of State in Maine? She sounds like a political pundit. Just somebody who doesn't like the president, a socialist who loves Joe Biden.
So they're going to go after the chick in Maine. Sorry, y'all. That's how it works in Maine.
She's an unelected, she's an appointed political hack, a bureaucrat with no legal training. But even if you look at the Colorado Supreme Court, there was no due process there.
Of course.
He was not convicted of insurrection. He was not allowed to see all the evidence against him. They allowed hearsay evidence in. He was not allowed to present all his own witnesses. It was on an accelerated case. No parent would ever want their child to be prosecuted using the, quote, due process that Trump was given in Colorado.
Hey, it better stop. It's just going to be ugly for the country.
The reality is, Trump shouldn't be on the ballot. But it totally plays to his narrative to take him off. I don't really see what the point of taking him off is. Not a single person who wasn't going to vote for Donald Trump would suddenly now vote for him because they saw him on the ballot. Everybody in America has already decided. And here's a message to anybody out there who's still on the fence. You're an idiot. I'm Zachariah, Lone Star Liberal. Like and subscribe. Y'all take it easy.
Some senior living facilities claim to have world-class service. But there's only one elder care facility that knows how to make you feel right at home. At Mar-a-Lago Assisted Living, we will literally hold your hand every step of the way. Enjoy our complimentary storage space for all your heirlooms, private offices to take meetings and calls, beautiful interior decor, expert hygiene specialists to take care of any weird body smells. And our house-made meals are so exquisite they'll take your mind off everything else.
I was sitting at the table, we had finished dinner, we're now having dessert. And we had the most beautiful piece of chocolate cake that you've ever seen.
Mar-a-Lago Assisted Living. We do the work so you don't have to. And let's face it, you don't want to.
Oh. New Year's resolution, we're right near the end. I'm gonna stop biting my nails. So let's take a quick check-in and see how I'm doing. 7 days.